That's so f***ed. I'd be willing to bet a whole case of ramen, which is about $2.34 in US dollars, that only about 5 people have actually driven their Mark V Supra since they bought it. Why might you make that claim, Alex? Well, because every single one seems to be getting wide-bodied or liberty walked right now. Walked, I'm not entirely sure if that's an adjective or a verb at this point, but verbs are what you do. Whatever, it comes down that it's just a thing that people are doing right now. But when it comes down to legendary cars, the Supra is it. It's taken over TikTok, and I'm not even sure if that's a good thing. It was in some of the most iconic movies. It features the engine of all engines. Its interior is designed like a cockpit, and no matter how old you are, how much money you have, you'll always break your neck when you see this thing driving down the street, because it's just like, you just gotta look at it. You're just like, how neat is that? And it's pretty neat. I'm Alex at FI on Instagram, and today we're gonna be talking about one of the best tuner cars that are out there in the market right now, probably today and forever, the Toyota Supra.
Initiating Toyota Supra hype sequence. Hold on to your shit, boys. No, this is lit. Keep it going.
And while you're jumping into it, don't forget to subscribe so we can keep making banging videos like this. And while you're down there, be sure to drop a comment on what you'd like to see us cover next. And just so you know, in case it's not burned into everyone's head yet, if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension for your newly acquired Toyota Supra, or maybe just your daily driver, be sure to check us out at fitmentindustries.com. You may be noticing that I'm wearing a new sweatshirt. Well, that's because we're giving away a free set of Michelin tires, a free set of Coste wheels, and a free set of Silver's suspension. That's wheels, tires, and suspension. All you gotta do is pick up this sweatshirt, and we'll be making a donation as well at the end of the month. So the Toyota Supra is like the godchild of the Toyota Motor Corporation that began all the way back in 1978. The car initially shared the name with the Toyota Celica, which was a car that my mom owned. That's right, all the way up. It's pretty cool. She was neat, all right? It was a black coupe Toyota Celica with the sunroof. Anyway, the roots of the car trace back all the way to the iconic Toyota 2000 GT with its engine layout, the styling of it, and the driver-focused interior. Because in case you wanted to dream about owning a twin-turbo manual Supra that's way out of your price point, you could also just say, let me just take that one step further in terms of unattainable dream cars and drool over a 2000 GT. But even taking it all the way back to 1978, the first gen Toyota Supra was based on the Celica liftback and doesn't have a whole lot of love, you know, mostly because the Mark IV is what really everybody cares about. I hate to say it, but the Mark I did a good job at getting Toyota into the sports car market that also had some luxury components like power windows and something called sports suspension. Wow. The second generation Supra still carried the Celica Supra name, but really started to shape the sports car market for Toyota. The second gen A60 would feature everything that is proper about an 80s coupe car. It had the inline 6 engine, changed up the wheelbase, put some little wider wheels on it, had some fender flares, impact bumpers that were hidden a little bit, and pop-up headlights, because everybody knows that that's what you need to do in the 80s. It had the 80s technology touch too, like the digital readout of miles per gallon, ETA to destination, not entirely sure how that worked, and a whole bunch of other neat shit that probably looks absolutely terrible now. But we don't want to skip over these generations, but the second generation isn't one that, again, people didn't love that much. Now, it doesn't matter that it looks like a 1 Series BMW. Nope, it's all original. It doesn't matter. But they were a fun car with only 160-ish horsepower. Nope, it didn't matter that they looked so good in the Alpine white with the fender mirrors and the lowering springs. Nope, no one seems to care about the first or second generation, just like you don't really care about the older brother or the middle son. Everybody always cares about the youngest because that's just what parents do. holes, but the second generation Supra did fairly well throughout the world. Toyota was getting this car everywhere, and it was doing it very, very well considering how hard it was back in the day. Now, doing so well that in 1986, Toyota introduced the next generation Toyota Supra, the one that people buy and then tell everyone that they own a Supra and then pray nobody asks what generation it is. Not that that's a bad thing, but we do it. We all do it. I get it. It's like, I understand. You know, the Mark III continued to get beefed up in terms of performance, wheelbase, power, styling, speed, everything. The car would receive the iconic 7M-GE motor, which was not one, not two, oh, you see how I did that? Not three, it's like a magic trick, but 4 valves per cylinder and dual overhead cams. It came with a turbocharger. I mean, there was like an NA version, which was pretty decent too, but the twin turbo version was an absolute beast. These cars really started to get beefed up, like really beefed up. They had 3-channel ABS, they had TEMS, which allowed you to control the damper rates, they had ACIS for air compression, and some other acronyms that would make me sound extremely smart, but honestly, in the general terminology, it just made the car better. It made it a proper player in the sports car world. It began to show that the Japanese car market had a lot that they could play with, and as the success of the divisions began to grow, they got what we would call more money. And when they got more money, they just kept making their cars fantastically better than the competition. It was offered in its own model and the Celica Supra trim. The car really began to be noticed for its exceptional driving and build quality. The Supra would actually start to enter in this generation touring car championships, and although it had a tough time in pro racing, it was the start that Toyota needed to truly begin showing the world that the car could be introduced to the larger race-oriented market. And then it happened. It happened. It happened. It actually happened. And I hate to say it because it's cringy and it's rough, and I hope that you have your headphones in, because if you're in a college library and you hear this get said out loud, it's gonna be uncomfortable, especially if you're a dude. But I gotta say, the daddy of the Toyota Supra then came to life. The one that everyone, if it was a person, would probably call yeah, the Mark IV generation Toyota Supra came in, and that's when the world realized that the Japanese automotive manufacturers were making way too much money because the car was absolutely insane in every single way. The Mark IV put away the RuneScape accounts and decided to become an adult and just play Tippy Cup on Friday nights and get up because that's what you do. The days of being an underdog went away, and Toyota held nothing back with this car. When they were looking at the competition between Mitsubishi, Nissan, Toyota came in swinging with a little bit of steroids. The naturally aspirated and turbo models came to the US and just did so well. It was such a good car. The turbo models could go 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. They made the turbos sequentially, so you could get boost at 1800 RPM and have nearly 300 foot-pounds of torque at the same time. The manuals of the Mark IV Supra would see the G-Trag, 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 G-E-T-R-A-G gearbox because they're already dumping money into the Supra, so why not just do it a little bit more? Why not just throw just one of the best transmissions you could throw in there at the time? So Toyota made the car lighter, faster, evened out the weight distribution, and by all definitions made that tuner car a proper tuner car. And the Toyota Supra checked all the boxes. Sexy, yup. Okay, fast, yup. Okay, let's make sure that it's modifiable, yup. Let's make sure it's bulletproof, yup, we can do that. Okay, and then they paired it with a great transmission and a fantastic suspension, and it just killed it until it died. And then they introduced the Mark V. So I always get a little bit confused with the Mark V that got introduced to the world because we can't tell if we're supposed to love it or hate it. But it's definitely a fun car when you're starting to look at it without any of the history of the Toyota Supra name. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. It comes with an optional turbo 3-cylinder, an 8-speed automatic. It can run a 12-second quarter mile. The car itself has extremely little history besides the fact that there was already a recall and the whole world just exploded. Besides the obvious note that it's brand new and shares its bits and pieces with BMW, it's pretty much just the next generation of the car. Now, everyone is liberty walking them. Everyone is trying to tune them and then they throw them into a tree. that's on IAI right now, and trying to figure out if the Mark V Supra will actually hold up to the prestigious name that the Mark IV Supra carried for so long. And this is where a lot of manufacturers can get in a little bit of trouble, because historically, anytime they bring back a name like that, they don't always do that well. Now, we ain't about to talk about the history class, because last time I skipped a generation for a car, I got personally attacked by Dakota, but we just wanted to share it all with you. But you're here to know what it's like to actually own one of these cars. If you could just win the lottery, perhaps, you know, it's a good time to hope. Christmas is coming, so you want to own a Toyota Supra. Well, put down the slap chops and snag your 2 Jay-Z jokes, because we're about to dive into it and everything that you would want. The first and second generation cars are not common in the current scene as much as they once were. They're the cars that your mom or dad probably owned, and mostly because, well, they are some old boys these days, and not many find them are really actually that fun when you compare it to others that are out there right now for the same price, especially when you're looking at Toyota Celica compared to something like an RX-7. Now, the third generation is likely where you'll find most Supra owners, and it's for really good reason. The third generation has a fantastic platform. It's got a killer community and a decent bang for buck on the actual price of the car. As long as you can snag the car that is in relatively good condition, you should be able to enjoy yourself for years and years to come. You'll have a Supra, you just won't have the Supra. And that's the one thing that can kind of eat away at people just a little bit if you're a little bit younger and you really want to own a Supra. If you really want to save up for the Mark IV, our recommendation is just to hold out. Now, most third gen mods are pretty moderate. They usually run NKRPF1s, Toyo Proxies, Hankook Ventuses, because the cars are actually driven pretty hard. Tane coilovers take the cake here as well, because the price is decent and the options are pretty limited for the older generations. Now, jumping into the big boy, the Keanu Reeves of Supra, the Mark IV, okay? The Mark IV is a car that carries a price tag along with its Elon Muskiness love for the community. The car can handle about everything. The car can actually pretty much do no wrong. It's like a single child in a rich family. From single turbo swaps to 1500 horsepower builds to show builds to everything in between, it's a car that looks pretty much perfect in almost any type of setup. But depending on your build is where you'll see this generation car get so polarizing for the community. And you've probably seen the ones that we're gonna talk about first. You have those that go with the big horsepower numbers, throwing some massively beefy drag radials and billet specialties on the rear. You know the look I'm talking about because it's got the little boys in the back and the big tires, and then it's almost like, and it's ready to rock and roll. But that's not the only look anymore, because more and more people are actually picking up non-turbo Supras, and they're even picking up, dare I say it, automatics. The genre has opened up to people building them more as a show setup that also has a little bit of scoot, but most people end up most of them end up just trying to get the twin turbos or getting a twin turbo automatic. But those that are running more of a show setup, you'll actually see them running work Kawamis, Adhan AH02s, or even Cosmos Racing XC206Rs. We used to see a lot of SSRs on these cars, but not really that much anymore, which is kind of interesting. Now, with the Mark V, the car that I don't know if you're supposed to love, but the Mark V, nobody knows what's gonna be on these cars. And if it's our guess, it's probably gonna be some wide body Pandem kit with plenty of forged stars and air suspension, because that is just what is going on. Why make a car wider when you can make it even wider? You know, why just have the car initially try it out when you can just wide body the hell out of it? You know, that's the community. The Toyota Supra is about one of the most iconic cars in the industry, from its introduction from over 40 years ago to the iconic entrance of the Mark IV. Even with its controversial introduction of the Mark V and its collaboration with BMW, it's pretty clear that the Supra has done quite well in the aftermarket community, and as one of the cars that's probably one of the most popular out there, right next to the other legends like the Skyline and the NSX, the Supra does carry a pretty massive name to it. With aftermarket modifications coming out for the newest generation and seeing YouTubers like TJ Hunt, DDE, and other YouTube channels really starting to pick up these cars, it's gonna be cool to see. But unfortunately for you guys, you're totally stuck with an E30 until a totaled one shows up, and then maybe we can convince our boys over at Branded Title to snag one for us, and then we'll build that next. So what are your thoughts on the Toyota Supra? Rate them below, and if you haven't yet, and of course don't forget to subscribe so we can keep making banging videos like this, because we need more food. And in case it snows and we're stuck in this building, we don't have enough money for blankets. Anyway, if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit up fitmentindustries.com, where we have it all from Tane coilovers to rotiform. And if you want to pick up free wheels, free tires, and free suspension, or have your chance to do so, Come snag one of these sweatshirts, the description link is below. It's Cosmos wheels, Michelin tires, and silver suspension because we just like to party. And you know what? December's coming up, and regardless if you're a Christmas guy or not a Christmas guy or gal, it is fun to give stuff away. So have a great time, guys. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you later. Peace.